Good evening. Before we begin, we would like to acknowledge that the land we are filming on today is the land of the Wurundjeri people. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We are using this land as a place of learning and creativity which the Wurundjeri people have been doing for thousands of years before us. That respect is extended to anyone here today in the audience or watching at home that are of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander descent.
Hello, and welcome back to Hungry Talks. I'm Jaya, and this is my very dapper co-host Charlie. And boy oh boy, we have a big show for you tonight. It's the business end of the season now, and with just 3 episodes left and 4 weeks of classes. And with that in mind, well, we've ditched our normal clothes and dressed to impress. It's time to go formal and corporate. I call it corporate steez.
It's purely a matter of looking the part. We're in the advertising industry, and according to everyone outside of the industry, we're a bunch of suits. So with pitch night coming up, we need to prepare ourselves for those expectations.
Getting a little used to mine. Bit tight around the old forearms. But don't worry, we're still the same old show. We'll do all the things we normally would do, only now we're more professional. No jingle pushing coming from me.
I thought that's because you ran out of arguments for it.
I didn't run out of arguments for it, Charlie. Jingles can, in fact, be... All right. You know what? This is unproductive, unprofessional. Charlie, I will not take any further part in this argument.
Do you see what I'm dealing with? On a more serious note though, you may have missed seeing our lovely faces last week, and that is because of the NT-EU strike. We had to cancel the EP in support of our tutors, and it couldn't be more fitting when speaking about ethics. The advertising industry has seen its fair share of criticism throughout history. Many are quick to accuse the field of being manipulative, immoral, and tone deaf. But is that really true? I mean, sure. There might be forms of advertising here and there that purely exist to get people to buy something that is detrimental to them. But it can be so much more than that, right?
I suppose so. I mean, it says on my order queue here that advertising can and has in many circumstances been used for social good. Advertising charities, raising awareness for social causes, or important health or government information.
But is the industry doing enough? And if not, what else can we do?
So, to answer this question, let's assess our ad of the week. It's an ad that tried to meet the best of both worlds. Sell a product while attempting to create a thought-provoking message. It failed miserably, and is widely considered to this day to be one of the worst ads of all time.
Well, really, surely it can't be that bad. Oh, wait, it's the Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh no. I mean, do we even need to play it? I'm sure everyone knows how awful it is.
Unfortunately, we do have to play it. I mean, there could be some really lucky people in the audience tonight that haven't seen it. Roll it.
Some said never, but they never done come. Yeah, and took our trust. It's been winning, but the lovers ain't done. Yeah, not on my watch. Yeah, took all my rights away. Yeah, telling me how to pray. Yeah, won't let us demonstrate. Yeah, wrong. We are the lions. We are the chosen. We gonna shine out the dark. We are the movement. This generation. You better know who we are. Who we are. Yeah, if I fire when the fire was ice. No, they showed a lie. Took all my rights away. Telling me how to pray. Don't let us demonstrate. Wrong. Well, living the core with the pride. All of the lions will strive. Working so hard to unite. United, we tired of lies. Tired of lies. We are the lions. We are the chosen. We gonna shine out the dark. We are the movement. This generation. You better know who we are. Oh, oh. We are the lions. We are the chosen. We gonna shine out the dark. Yeah, we are the movement. This generation. You better know who we are. Oh, we are the lions. We are the chosen. We gonna shine out the dark. We are the movement. This generation.
Joining us tonight to discuss this PR disaster is Hanaka, Jacob, and Joe. Let's get right into it. Why do you think this ad was so poorly received? Who wants to go first?
I think it was just really insensitive, and yeah, the way that they kind of tried to talk about a social issue like that, they didn't really process what it actually meant. So, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed pretty tokenistic. Like if you watch the ad, it's sort of like Kendall Jenner, she's modeling and she just happens to see there's a protest. Oh, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
I'm going to join in. I didn't plan to, but
Maybe
I
I'll
might
just step
push to the front,
Yeah.
push to the front, hand the cops a Pepsi, that'll fix it. So it seemed like the lack of thought that was put into the movement was like really, really visible in the ad.
Like this mega celebrity who's taking part in this grassroots,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I've even lost the word, protest.
I don't even think the protest was realistic either.
Yeah.
Like that's just not how it actually
It's very
happens in life.
cheerful and
So-
lighthearted and oh my God, Pepsi's gonna save the day. A little
Yeah.
bit.
So it's just really
ridiculously poor
unrealistic.
taste. It's completely the fact that they went through and considered this as an option to sell Pepsi of all things. It boggles my brain how they even considered that as an option.
I think it failed to engage with like the key like moral, ethical like matters of the movement. So it didn't actually engage with like, because it was around the Black Lives Matter movement, sort of that cultural
Yeah.
point in time. And they didn't really engage with any of the issues. They just said, oh, we know there's a lot of like excitement and buzz around this, so we're just going to jump on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like very bandwagon kind of.
And imagine how much money they threw at it, like
Yeah.
probably ridiculous figures, and just to fall so flat like that. And if it's Pepsi, and they've always been kind of ahead of the game when it comes to advertising with the Coke versus Pepsi, it shocks me that that I'm not sure who the agency was, but how that came to the drawing board and how that came to.
Past so many rounds of people.
I know, literally.
and yeah, crazy.
And now it's just buried. Like it's so funny. You go on YouTube and you try and look it up, and it's like really hard to find the one with the actual song and the audio. There's like cuts of it, and yeah, it's hilarious. I think it's just
Big
terrible.
Soda's trying to hide
Just
it.
a really long ad
Yeah,
too.
the full
So it's
cut.
not even a good ad anyway.
Where did I feel like I watched it on YouTube? Or like, was it? I don't know. Was
I
it even
never
on
saw
TV?
it. Yeah, I don't
I just
think
know
so.
that it was like so bad that it just got even more publicity just for being bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
There's the question: is bad publicity good publicity?
Yes.
But in that case,
Not I
In
don't-
all
not at
cases,
all.
yeah.
I don't think in that case at all. I feel like Pepsi is one of those brands that, when there's no Coke, you go for Pepsi, and this is my opinion. So,
Yeah.
it was just silly. It was just ridiculous they even went forth with that campaign.
Yeah. think it's a huge embarrassment to the Pepsi brand because they're like a global brand, and you would think that brands like this, they have sort of checks and measures in place to stop really insensitive things from coming out. I think I saw that this ad was done by in-house advertising group and like a relatively small team. So I'm pretty sure at the time people were criticizing like not really enough diversity in voices in the actual producing. So like surely somebody could have seen this before it was filmed or even like produced and flagged that it's not quite right.
Maybe that was the problem too, though, because
Yeah.
there wasn't diversity.
That they're
in
like,
the
oh yeah, this is
agency,
fine.
So
like,
that's why it
let's-
didn't really
Yeah.
work in their favour.
It was an Australian group. Yeah, of course.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Do you have any more thoughts on the ad?
Yeah,
or-
any final thoughts?
What did I'm not sure, but did the ad lead to any negative sales for Pepsi? I'd love to see if
I
it.
wonder. Surely it would.
Most likely.
Surely it would have gotten a lot of backlash, like people just being like, nah, I don't want to buy Pepsi now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
Pretty
it's like,
sure
why
there's-
would you want to stand for a brand that puts something out like that?
Yeah. I think it was
Interesting.
just disappointing that not a single person said anything or thought, oh, actually, this probably isn't a good idea. Like, not one person said that. So, yeah.
In hindsight, it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like how it.
yeah.
We can learn a lot from it.
We can.
as
Thank God for
as
that.
young advertising students.
Don't do that.
Pepsi, you're
don't
not
do
doing what you're
that.
doing.
Yeah.
If I had one word about how the ad makes me feel, I would say puzzled.
Yeah.
Like, how did this happen?
confused.
Yeah.
Why is there a cello player on the roof?
Yeah.
Is it like calling in a helicopter?
Yeah.
Private jet, I reckon.
Right, for Kendall.
Yeah.
Rock up to a protest. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that gap, just that gap, hilarious. Well, anything else? I guess thanks so much for joining us, and
Thanks for having
best
us.
of luck with pitch night,
Thank
Hanaka and Jacob.
Yeah.
We're going to go to a quick ad break right now, and we'll return with our next guest shortly.
Thank you very much for the care you've taken. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. Thank you very much for the home we're making. Thank you very much, very much.
Say thank you with Cadbury Roses chocolates. Whatever the occasion or for any reason at all, delicious centres covered in smooth Cadbury chocolate.
Thank you very much for the driving lesson. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much for taking us camping. Thank you very, 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 very much.
Thinking about the holidays? Thinking about gardening? Thinking about doing odd jobs? Whatever you need, whatever you're doing, wherever you're going, Kmart wants you to have a great Christmas.
You gotta work it hard to be a solo man. You're gonna take the lead and make the others follow. You're gonna keep in shape to be a solo man. And when you got a thirst for it, you've gotta crack a solo.
Extra tangy lemon solo. Light on the fizz so you can slam it down fast. You face the challenge. You've earned the reward.
You've gotta crack a solo.
Chicken Tonight's tasty selection of simmer sauces have everybody saying, choose from the delicious range of sauces made with quality ingredients. Simply brown the chicken, simmer, and serve.
Mum, can we have chicken tonight tomorrow?
For the names on the screen,
Yeah.
don't worry.
Welcome back. Our next guests wipe away the bad reputation that ads like Pepsi give the industry. We're about to introduce key figures from the creative agency, The Open Arms. But for those who may be unfamiliar with their work, let's have a quick look together. Roll it.
Lose my mind. Lose my mind. Lose my mind. Where's my mind? Maybe it's in the gutter where I left my lover. What in the sunset? My V is
joining us tonight is Amy Hollier and Jess Lilley, co-founders of the Open Arms Agency. So, what is your background in the industry? Start off with Amy.
Who goes first? Well, I actually studied here over in Building 9.
Crazy.
Yeah,
We're
that's
still
my
We love
beginning.
having recent grads back on.
Yeah.
Was it 2 years ago?
I don't know. I don't know about that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be a creative, and I came out of RMIT a copywriter and had an awesome time copywriting, and then I became a creative director, and I worked at lots of big different agencies on St Kilda Road in Melbourne, which was the home of all the ad agencies. Now they're all in Richmond. And then I moved over to Saatchi's in Paris and Geneva for a while, and had a bit of a whirlwind, like, you know, awesome junket of a small career break over there for 6 years. And then I came back, and then we decided to sort of step out and start our own thing and make a bit of a difference. And now I'm the strategy lead because my wonderful friend Jess here is our creative director.
Yeah, I can't do anything else. So Amy had to do strategy.
Amazing. And Jess, so what's your industry experience?
Completely different from Amy's. I was kicking about in the Melbourne independent music scene for a long time, had no interest in working in advertising whatsoever. And then I got a freelance gig and I'm like, well, this pays well. I was like, I'm just gonna, I think I was doing my honours thesis, which, you know, so I was just a poor student and, you know, writing music reviews and working in a vinyl pressing plant and record factory. And then it was like, wow, I can make what? Writing, you know, ads. So I thought I'd do it for a few months, and then like nearly 20 years later, here we are. And similar to Amy, it was, you know, I took it overseas. I lived in London for about 9 years and came back and, worked for a lot of the bigger agencies. And then we met and we're like, let's do something different.
Well, speaking of that, the Open Arms, can you explain to us what the aim of your creative agency is, please?
Yes. So we started as a purpose-driven agency, I guess, and for us that means, it really just means doing work that we feel has a benefit to the community. So it doesn't necessarily always mean sort of charity work. You know, we work for a lot of profitable, you know, profit-driven companies, but for us, you know, the work has to have some benefit. It has to, whether it's, you know, in health or whether it's in education or some sort of, you know, social impact. And then also for us, a part of that was we wanted to create an agency where those values extend to the way that we operate and the way that we employ people, and making sure that that these sorts of jobs are accessible for all kinds of people, not just the sort of limited kind of demographic that you often see in big agencies, you know. So we are really purposeful about who we employ and how, and the way that we do things, and making sure that everything, you know, is available to everyone. We're just some kumbaya dudes trying to do the right thing. You know, after selling tea bags for so long, we're like, shit. You know, we had kids and we're like, God, we've got to be proud of what we do.
Them
Quick,
to be proud of us.
Yeah.
I mean, you say kumbaya, but really, you know, we also reckon it's a bit of a hard-nosed business strategy. What we're building is something sustainable. You know, it's the kind of place where people like you want to work in the future. You don't want to work a place that's driven only to achieve profit.
I don't know. I look at how they're dressed, Amy. I think they're pretty.
Oh, they're pretty fancy.
Look, just for the episode, you know, tie bar and everything.
So good.
I like the tie bar.
Love a tie bar.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I just had to get into character.
Yeah. Attention to detail. That's what you need in this business.
Well, thank you.
It's all about
And
the
look,
craft.
Purple socks, purple tie.
Amazing.
And then we
We're
did
smart out
pinstripe
here.
as well. Like, didn't even plan this.
I know, it's like
It's all
your
about the details.
clips, match
all
the
about the
accessories.
brand guidelines.
Incredible.
Before we get too far off track,
sorry.
I just wanted to ask how this applies to your campaign on Dolly's Dream.
Well, you started with Dolly's Dream a while ago. So the new campaign, this year's campaign was the second you worked on. So do you want to go back to the beginning?
Yeah, well, We sort of started working with Dolly's Dream in 2019 when wonderful young Dolly Everett passed away from bullying, and there was a kind of a tidal wave of donations coming in, and Dolly's Dream needed to, kind of tell their story, and they sort of gathered all this support from all over Australia. It was a big media story. She was the real heartbeat of Australia, the little girl in an Akubra, and it struck so many people. So they kind of amassed a lot of donations, and they needed to tell their story and what they were here for. But it was too early to start sort of talking about Dolly and putting her on the screen. So we kind of employed the services, and we got on board a really young creative. She was 16, Charlotte McClaverty. And she made a beautiful video with us. We kind of gave her superpowers, much like you have in this studio. We gave her the superpowers of an incredible crew, and she wrote and directed this first beautiful video, which I think was in the clips package just before.
It was Dolly's Dream started because her family didn't want her death to go in vain, and also didn't want any other family to experience what they'd experienced. And so it started as an anti-bullying charity, and we've been working with them and with her parents to just spread that message. And this year's campaign, it works as a fundraiser. They have a fundraising day every year, but they want to make sure that the message that they put out is actually a really important anti-bullying message as well. It's not really just about fundraising. So this year, similarly, we make sure that we collaborate with young women in all of our productions. Dolly was really creative. There was an artwork that she created soon before she died that really encapsulated such an incredible anti-bullying message. And so we've kept that going. All of the, we made sure that primary crew were young women, the director again, photographer, things like that.
First AD.
First AD. And also the way that we work with an example like that, and the way that we work differently from a big agency is we want to make sure that the little budget that they have goes as far as it can. So I kind of, my creative team on that was me and the director. We just were like, I just worked really closely with her. We made sure that the production, all the money poured into the production, we didn't waste a cent of it, just to make sure that the value was there for them. Yeah. So that, I guess that's how it translates. Yeah. A little bit.
And getting those really young people, you want, you're saying in your mission statement that people have to be at the centre of everything for you. You do, and is that you think that's one of the best ways to reach audiences and people? And was this the mindset that you had for the poetry brand launch as well?
That's interesting. I think when we say people at the heart of everything we do, that is on a number of levels. It's the way that we bring people into the work that we do. And yes, 100%, we just did a campaign for another educational institution up the road. Another tertiary institution.
Oh, okay, right. I see how it is.
Yeah.
Same street.
We're all friends here. And it was for their, for Melbourne News Centre for Excellence in Rural Sexual Health. And because STIs are on the rise, so guys, practice safe sex. Get checked regularly and make it one of your green flags. That's the campaign essentially. But we are not young anymore, much as we look the part. So we make sure that the creatives on a job like that are in the demo. So people are talking to each other, 100%. Yeah. But it also means we still do. We still can talk to people. So we have, I don't know if I'm sort of making a fist of it at the moment, but we also have something that we call the empathy model, which is a really in-depth kind of research approach. And we don't, we will go out, whatever brief we have, we will go wherever people are and talk to them, on their grounds, in their worlds, to make sure that we truly understand whatever problems they're facing. Like, Amy's been on walking with
the seniors groups.
Amy's
out
been on
there with my
seniors
baby in a
walking.
pram. Look, they don't go very fast, so it wasn't too stressful.
Or talking to employment groups in commission flats, commission housing about we go in there with a certain assumptions, and we come out like with completely different understanding of what their challenges are. So. That's putting people at the heart of what we do.
Yeah.
But then, as we said, it's also like how we work with people. A lot of, I'm sure anyone exposed to agencies, you hear all about agency culture. And for us, that we don't really, for us, we want the people who come to us to set the culture. It's like, what do you need? How can we adapt ourselves to you so that we can have your incredible talent and your amazing abilities working with us? And so we make sure that we kind of really advocate for what people need in the short time their paths are gonna cross ours, because they will go on and do amazing things. So that the time that they spend with us is the most beneficial to them.
Yeah.
If you do everything for people, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good motto.
I love that. And your work with IVF Australia, how did you approach that as well? Same kind of thing. You're gonna.
Well, that was
getting
where
into the world of the people.
we really exercised the empathy model.
Yeah.
That was the foundation of it, really.
That was our foundational client.
That
too,
was,
really.
We had just an incredible series of interviews and phone calls, and because it was through COVID as well, so it was a real test of our interpersonal skills and our ability to reach out and get the real story without being able to meet anyone face to face. We had an amazing Zoom over pizza and wine with 50 fertility specialists at Melbourne IVF, which was pretty phenomenal. And some of them were dashing out to, deliver prescriptions to patients, and we saw so much. About their dedication in that call, didn't we? Yeah.
Remember when we did go to the lab though, Amy, and we saw a woman counting sperm?
Yeah.
And it was the most incredible thing I've seen, because she's just looking in her lab and just like, ba, 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 ba. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, have a look. And she's like, I'm counting the ones that are swimming. And I'm like, how do you do that? She's just like, I've just learned how to do it over time. And she's just looking at these. It was mind blowing.
Yeah.
And
So different. Different day at work.
Different day at work. But, but also going and talking to people who have been through IVF and meeting donors and the altruistic reasons that they donate, and I think you just showed a clip from the ad, all of the stories that we told in that film were from people we met. It wasn't that hard. It's not that hard to tell the story when you actually go and find out the real stories that people are experiencing.
And I think in our past lives in other agencies, as a creative, you can get a bit separated from authentic stories and from the truth, because there's strategy and there's a client's commercial objective, or then there's the agency strategy, and there's the briefing, and there's what people want you to think. And it's been really liberating for us, getting back in touch with how people really feel. And it's thrilling to see those insights come to life in creative. It's just...
Those parts are like the most salient, those really authentic stories, and that's how you make the best kind of ads.
And it'd be so rewarding for yourselves as well as all the good you're doing.
That's right.
Well, then you just want to do the right thing by them.
Yeah.
And Jay, you mentioned poetry before, and I completely ignored you, sorry. But that's a really different one in the sense that we also try and work with, one of the reasons we started is like we wanted to take all of the global agency knowledge that we'd gained. And, sometimes we got frustrated being in a big agency system because there's so much between you and, the client, or you and the audience, or whatever. And so we wanted to take all of that and be able to distill it for just smaller businesses and organisations we love who would never be able to afford, wouldn't be able to afford to step into one of those big agencies. And poetry is an example of, we met this woman and she was launching a skincare brand, and she told us how she started it. She made the formulas herself because her wife suffered rosacea, and all of the products she tried were just terrible for her skin. And so she had this very scientific brain and just looked at all the ingredients and just like, what the fuck is this shit going into all of my skincare products? And so she created, so we were just like, oh, this is such a beautiful story, and this is a product that comes from such a great place. You know, so that is a classic sort of beauty campaign, really. But we really believe in the story behind the brand.
The line there was more than skin deep, and I think when we look at the product, when we were creating that campaign, all we could see was her love for her wife. And it's, it was way more than a skin product. It was, there was incredible depth, incredible research to the packaging, to the product, to everything. So
yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Would you be able to tell us one of your favourite briefs you worked on for Open Arms and explain the process between brief and execution?
All of them.
Yeah, you just mentioned some good ones.
I mean, I think that for me, the fact, those 3 campaigns we've just talked about, they're so different. One's a massive multinational organisation like Virtus Health, which has, IVF Australia, Melbourne IVF. Our campaign was all over Australia and Singapore, but that is changing lives, There are people who will not have families without that. Versus Poetry, this tiny little startup, versus Dolly's Dream, a charity. The breadth of what we do is so great. And for me, like every new connection we make with someone and they bring us their challenge, that's the most exciting because it's the next, how do we solve this next problem? How do we create something that we can all be proud of? And there's an amazing thing that we're in the process of at the moment that we can't really tell you too much about. But
it's under wraps.
But it's working with, trans kids and helping. It's another incredible product and an incredible story, and it's just, I feel so lucky that we get to do this and that these people trust us to tell these stories. I think that's the best bit for me.
I think the donor campaign that we did, Life Pass It On, was really awesome, and I love it because it's had incredible results. Which is
Amy's results driven. I'm just like
results driven. I'm really proud of that, and we're setting up a really great case study for the Effies.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah,
so that's not great. Having to work out how to use Xero, like when we started a business, like if I'd known some of the crap that I had to do in accounting. I don't know if we would have done it.
Don't tell us that.
No. Yeah, go work for someone else for a while first.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's great insight and you guys sound really proud of your work and it's really awesome to see. Before we finish up, Hungry Talks tradition, 90s photos.
Oh, I know.
Which one goes first?
Amy.
Oh, Amy.
Yeah. Where's the?
Oh yeah.
Can you see it over there?
So cute.
I'm the redhead.
Very gorgeous.
Funny.
How good are the sleeves? We've all got
Yeah,
it's
love
amazing.
it.
Action.
And then Jess next.
Yeah, mine is strictly, I think, 2000s. I couldn't find a 90s
mine's
one.
1990 and yours is 2000.
Yeah, I know that the dictators didn't tour until 2002, but But this, I thought it was relevant anyway because we are in a bit of a moment of protest and
I love it.
We love them. Awesome. Okay, so we have one final question for you. So we're about to graduate. We've got 4 weeks left. What advice do you have to everyone, like students in our position, that can help us?
Yeah. My biggest piece of advice is know your value. Go forth confidently into the world and, you know, there will be knocks, but know what you're worth. You guys are worth so much. There's, you know, most agencies are still run by people of other generations who you know, and technology and everything is changing so quickly, and the amount of knowledge that you bring is incredible. So I feel like you really need to, obviously you need to go out and try as much as you can and knock on doors, and but don't sell yourself short. Don't intern for free. Don't put up with anyone's bullshit, and just have a good time, like have fun, and also open yourself up to as much kind of advice and meeting people as you can, really. And you can come and meet us. I will put that out there. Come and say hi.
You'll be getting a LinkedIn request in about an hour.
No, that's fine.
I will come visit.
We've got a cute little studio in Collingwood, and Amy and I sat there on 2 desks next to each other. We look like a little detective agency, and everyone is welcome to come for a cup of tea.
Amazing.
And yes, if you need help finding your lost dog or something.
Yeah,
like
we're there. We can do that,
Yeah.
Any tips from you, Amy?
Oh, look, I think that was really well said. I think I would add just practically, don't just rely on your portfolio. We love finding out about people's personalities, and that's if someone's employing you, that's what they're really looking for. You haven't done a lot of work yet. You haven't got the experience in the agency. So tell us about your, music that you've written, or, show us your Instagram. Like, really, like you've got that incredible body of work in your Instagram now, really. Tell us what you're passionate about. Tell us about your hobbies, your writing that you do, anything. It's, and it's someone who's a worthy employer will see value in all of that, the whole self.
Well,
not just the portfolio.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Really insightful, and hopefully all the awesome work that you guys do disproves the negative stigma us advertising people get.
No, the industry's still full of shit. Don't believe it. Don't believe it for a second.
Moving slowly into the right direction.
Yeah.
Good luck with pitch night, and this is incredible. Congratulations to everyone who is involved with this program.
We love doing this, and we're very grateful.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're giving, the young 16-year-old that you said directed someone, you're making their dreams happen.
Yeah.
And that's
helping
the
so
same.
many people,
Uni
which
RMIT,
is amazing.
we can actually say thank you. That's what the amenities fees pays for.
So you've both given us so much to think about and aspire towards. Best of luck to both of you, and good luck making positive change happen.
And it would seem silly, though, to have this episode about ethics in advertising and not address the elephant in the room. It's snuck its way in over the last few months.
Where's the elephant? Where's Alice? Wait. What?
AI, Charlie. I'm talking about the discussion about AI replacing human labour, particularly in the creative field. Remember Tyler Hamilton, Kellyanne Smith?
Yep.
AI has recently reared its head again after the AI-generated song between Drake and The Weeknd, which I haven't listened to, but apparently it got nominated for a Grammy, which is kind of terrifying. Thankfully, they retracted it.
Well, for the first time ever, the Grammys made a good choice.
Ouch. As we discussed earlier in the season, AI has a lot of really cool capabilities. We're just not sure where to draw the line. So I sat down with Anthony Breslin to touch on how he is using AI as an artist. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So what's your background in the AI space, Anthony?
I've been asked to do a few things because I've agreed to have my artwork done as an AI. So because I had approached by some people in Portugal who wanted to do it all legally and wanted me to agree that they could use my imagery to make up further imagery of my work. I'm a visual artist. I've been living off my occupation for about 25 years. I've had multiple shows all through Europe, Asia. I've won a major award in Shanghai Art Fair. So, I've been doing a lot of stuff, a lot of installations, a lot of performance art, all kinds of stuff, which I still do. I just finished a big installation in St Kilda at a cafe.
Oh,
and
fantastic.
I'm now moving on to the next one, which is at Westall Secondary College, a big installation. A few years ago, I got cancer. I got leukemia. I've got terminal cancer now. I've struggled for 8 years with my health. I still work a lot. I've had 2 books published. I've got 2 more books which are going to be published because I don't know how long I've got left. So I'm at a clinic now where I'm getting alternate treatment to try and elongate my life and stave it off. And that's primarily one of the reasons why I decided to agree to do AI with my artwork. I think because there's been so many difficulties with artists being ripped off with stuff with AI, with other people you're taking the images, and there's been court cases and stuff to do with Salvador Dali's work and other people's work. So hence this organisation, because I've got a fairly high profile in Australia and overseas to some degree as well, approached me and asked me if I would be interested in doing AI, and I agreed to do it because I wanted to do it for children's use mainly. I do a lot of projects with children, but also because I'm not going to be around. I don't know how much time I've got left as well, so it's something I can leave behind that could be used, and any money that's raised from it would go to an organisation that I support. I support a few charitable organisations, and that money would go to them, any money that came from it. So that's my basic reasonings for getting involved or accepting, saying yes to doing a contract for this sort of work with AI.
I guess in saying that, like, you know, it is a tool that we kind of are all grappling with at the moment. How do you think it can help artists, particularly like you, with continuing on with what your work and everything, especially?
It's an interesting question. I mean, the whole thing I know is very debatable, and I think other journalists have rung me up because I have a profile and because I'm very hands-on, so I'm not really into screens or using anything that's alternative besides just hands-on making the work myself. So it's kind of like, in a way, a contradiction to go into AI, and some people would see it that way. But it's just, it's inevitable, it's coming, it's already here, even though I don't have an interest in it, because I still like to make, my work's very detailed. I don't make everything by hand, I do it myself. But taking it, because I've done performance art, I've done multimedia in those performance art pieces on a major level, I figure, and I can't do that anymore because of I'm disabled now as well. It's taking it into a different context. And I wanted to limit the context to a degree by saying, okay, well, if it can be used with children can make up their own pictures that's formulated through my history of art production. So hence, I know they've been feeding in hundreds and hundreds or thousands of images into the system so I can correlate them and make up, you know, a different image that I potentially would make made from my artwork. So I don't have an adversity to that, but I have adversity because I'm about to produce 2 more books. I would never get AI to write my book for me. I think it's much better that the writer writes through their own voice and doesn't take any AI input from that. So I think it's got its place in certain contexts, but across the board, I wouldn't advocate it for everything, that's for sure. My work definitely appeals to a lot of children. I make certain characters that really appeal to kids. So if children really like my work and they want to make their own picture out of my work through using AI, I don't see that as a negative thing. But taken in different contexts, I definitely would see it as more of a negative thing. Because if the child has no creative input into what they're creating on that level, and they're just using all AI to create everything for them, I don't think that's a good thing.
Why do you think people are so threatened by it?
From what I understand, I mean, eventually you could get to the point where you can create an actor who's not a real person, and people can't tell the difference, because the AI can be used to promote and provoke the industry in such a huge way where that person can become a celebrity or an iconic actor, and it's not really a real person. I mean, I think in that realm it's scary, and also in just writing scripts, just endless really, because I think it just eliminates the potential of creativity on other levels. It's just reducing the fact that it can be done by a system and not by humans anymore. I was an art director that built and designed sets, won an ARIA award, but do we really need those people anymore? What does that do the art director?
Can you tell us a little bit about the Bresinator piece?
I mean, all I can tell you is all the images have been fed into the system through the people I'm working with, but in the early stages it was making images that I could recognize that come from me, but they weren't clear enough yet. By feeding more and more images in, they're going to get to a stage where it'll be far clearer. I'll be fascinated to see where it ends up.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and ideas on AI and how it impacts you as an artist and how you think it will impact artists in the future. And thank you for producing artwork for people. Thank you very
thanks
much.
for your time. Thanks a lot.
And we're back. Thanks for joining us, Anthony. We've had some great insights so far this evening into the biggest ethical concerns within the industry and chatted with some really cool people who are making really positive changes.
Well, so why do people look at me like I'm a Wall Street douche when I say I work in advertising? Whether it's because of our associations with big brands or series like Mad Men, you know what? Actually, I have a secret for you. Come here. Come closer. I'm going to whisper. A little closer. We're not. We're advertising students. We're going to be good. No capitalist shit here.
So, imagine if we're all manipulative, money-grabbing meanies. Jaya?
Roll it. Hey there, you're from the 10:30 class, aren't you? Working on your assessment? How's that going?
Yeah, it's going alright.
Really? I heard from your tutor. They said it's not very good.
Oh well, you know.
Anyways, I should probably go. I've got a 7:30 reservation at Shivnu.
Hey, just swing that. Hey, Derek, what's going on?
They've both mistaken me for Derek. Well, I mean, I suppose it makes sense. Both Derek and I are in the same classes. We both like Valentino suits and we both go to the same cafe, but I have better coffee. And what these two nimwits don't know is I have a good folio. Check this out. What do you think?
Very nice.
I finished it yesterday. Squarespace.
That's mighty impressive there, Derek. But that's nothing compared to this Adobe portfolio, matte black finish.
Very nice.
Since when do you get so tasteful?
Why does he prefer his folio over mine? Let's see your folio. Look at the subtle grey background, the tasteful image sizes, and are they embedded videos?
Something wrong there, Derek?
I gotta go.
I have no memory of that interaction.
Oh, but now that we've seen how it might feel to work in a competitive industry, what can advertisers do to improve?
Well, we recently sat down with Professor Christine Parker, an expert in business consulting for ethical and legal responsibilities, to discuss this.
I'll take this one, Jaya. Roll it.
Christine, thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure.
What is it that interests you about advertising and how that works in the industry?
There's this famous book that said advertising is the way that big companies made themselves look like they have a soul. So I'm really interested in how they portray themselves. So for me, it's probably not that much actually the advertising industry. It's the practice of advertising by the brand.
So can you tell us a bit about the ADMS Centre and the Ad Observatory project, please?
So that's the Australian Research Council Centre of Excellence for Automated Decision Making and Society, which is quite a mouthful.
It is.
But basically it's a whole bunch of academics from different universities, including RMIT. So they have the head office here at RMIT, but I'm from Melbourne Uni. We're looking at different ways in which automated decision making impacts society. So there's a heap of people who sort of do media studies, communication studies and so on, who are interested in automated media. So stuff like the feeds you get on your social media. So as people know, that's sort of governed by these algorithms. The various social media platforms, what they're doing is they're collecting lots of data about you and people like you that they think might be relevant to you, and that is governing what's coming through your feed.
Tell me about the Ad Observatory project.
So the Ad Observatory project is a really ambitious project. We're asking Australians to sign up and donate their Facebook ads to us for our project, because we want to see how Facebook is advertising to you. What we're interested in is what advertising you see, because these days we think that a lot of advertising is personalised, and it's what we call dark advertising. In traditional legacy media, the ads, like, you know, a beautiful spread in a magazine, or it's on TV where everybody can see it, can see the same ads. But when you're looking at social media, we don't really know what different people are getting and whether some people are getting lots of one kind of ad and other people are getting lots of another kind of ad. This is the first time that anybody's collected just a huge library of ads from ordinary people who've signed up to our Ad Observatory. So what they've done is they've installed a plug-in to their browser, and when they scroll Facebook, it collects their ads, and they've given us some demographic data about themselves. and we're just collecting all those ads.
So what then is your kind of specific role in the project?
I am one of a whole bunch of researchers. We're analysing the ads in the ad observatory to see whether there's things that are problematic. I'm looking at green claims, greenwashing in ads, and I'm looking at junk food ads. Yes.
Is there ethical ways to advertise things that really aren't good for you?
To me, the ethical issue with advertising is more about that we tend to just produce too much, consume too much, bad for the environment, bad for our health. So we should be producing and consuming less. Doesn't mean you can't advertise things, but there's always this pressure to do more and more and more and to exaggerate how good something is. You know, we're finding a lot of products on Facebook advertising have got some sort of environmental claim that they're good for the planet or whatever. A lot of food has got like a health claim on it, even though it's probably not really the kind of food you should be eating all the time. So there's always this pressure in advertising to come up with some reason why you should consume it. So to me, that's the issue.
Christine?
Yes?
Thank you so much for joining us. Some wonderful responses, and I'm sure everyone in the audience and watching at home and watching later on will find everything you've said super informative and useful, given us a lot to think about as the future of advertising. So thank you very much.
Okay, good luck going out there and being a responsible advertiser.
I'll try my best.
Yay!
Nice interview, Jaya, and thank you, Professor Parker, for your insights.
Thank you, Charlie. And, you know, speaking to the open arms before got me thinking, who else in our industry are actively seeking to do good?
Our next guests are from a production company that prides itself on the capacity for social good and environmental sustainability, and they're raising the bar for ethics within the industry.
We recently sat down with Nat Taylor, executive producer, and founder Beth Malcher, producer, to discuss all things Poppet. Roll it.
Right, firstly, thank you so much, Nat and Beth, for coming on to the show. I just wanted to start by talking about your advertising experience.
I started when I was 17 at a film editor's back in London, where I'm from. It was a very sort of haphazard beginning into the industry, and I'd gone in to cover someone who was on holiday for a week, and within a couple of days of being there, the person who owned the company said, "We love you, will you stay?" So that was very nice. And so my first couple of years was in a very busy editors, looking after 4 Avid suites, which were the main editing software at the time. And I'd say probably about a year into being there, I started picking up some little short films or music clips and things to do with other young PAs and people all starting out. And I realised I found it super frustrating that you'd get this footage and I'd be like, why don't they have an establishing shot? Or what about her reaction? You know, and I couldn't do anything. It already existed. And I'm also a massive nerd and I love making lists and organising stuff, and editing's not really like that. So having spent now probably 2 and a bit years working there, I had got to know lots of the production companies, and when I said I wanted to move over to production, I already had all those people that I knew, so that was really great. I moved into being a PA and then a production manager and then a producer, and moved between advertising production companies, so making TVCs, and then also ad agencies, so working more on the scripts sort of side of things. Very lucky to work with some of the best ad agencies in London. Ridley Scott's production company RSA, I worked on a movie with Ridley Scott, which was awesome. And then in 2009, when I was running my own production company in Soho and my husband's a director, he was at Michel Gondry's company Partisan, doing lots of very cool work with Xbox. The GFC hit and it all just seemed a bit grim in London at the time, and we had visas to be able to come to Australia because my mum had emigrated here, and we thought we'd come and try over here. My husband set up his own production company, Gods and Monsters, which he ran for a while, and I kind of have very much oscillated between either agency production, so looking after TV departments, or running production companies, so The Pound or Sherpa or Poppet, which I now have, so that's kind of my journey to now.
I actually started at RMIT, so I did my first degree at Melbourne University. I started off studying Chinese and international politics, and then I did a film elective, and it blew my mind, and I basically just never wanted to do anything else. else. And then so I started at RMIT, did my more practical hands-on thing. And then fortunately when I was at RMIT, I ended up doing a lot of running on sets, and I made some really good contacts, which is very rewarding, but also set me up to graduate with a bit of experience under my belt. So then I kind of did a little bit of leapfrog into some other roles as soon as I graduated. So I went on to a feature film, which was awesome, straight out of uni, went more into long form, worked on some really great TV shows, did a lot of travel TV. And I think I just fell really naturally into producing, you know, and I did a lot of continuity and script supervising, but producing is just the perfect role for me. Like, no matter any other department I would have had an interest in, producing is just like my thing, suits me down to the ground. It's such a great balance of like creativity and logistics. I did one job, one day with Nat when she ran the TV offering at Clemenger, and I don't know what it was. We just was like, I like you, and we just started to keep each other.
I do have a habit of collecting people.
You're like, you're coming with me.
Chelsea being one of them.
And rubbing off so well on her.
We worked at Think Bulk together, so we did this mad Vegemite campaign, which was awesome. Nat called me and said there's a job going at the company I'm at, so I went over to BWM and worked in the content offering there, and then Nat moved on, and I found the text a couple of weeks ago actually and said, well, do you want a job with me? And I wrote back, yeah. And then I went to Sherpa and worked at Sherpa with Nat for 2 years, and then Nat said, I'm starting Poppet, and I said, great, when do I start? And she said, in a month, so that was great, so it worked out really well.
What is Poppet?
What isn't Poppet?
Oh, here we go.
And I've really noticed in the 20 years of doing this that it really doesn't matter where you start, even if you have a huge budget and a big name star, and that could be your talent or behind the camera, whoever. If the team to start with don't feel connected and collaborative with each other, if for whatever reason, like the director is so big that everyone's terrified of he or she, you know, whatever their opinions are, or the creative agency is like so award-winning and, you know, has such a big following that everyone's terrified of making the wrong call. And it doesn't really matter where along that process it starts. When the doubt starts to creep in, any great creative or any beautiful idea or any magic just starts to get chipped away. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. And then we've done plenty of jobs where it might be like a brand new agency or an up-and-coming director or an interesting talent that we didn't know. And for whatever reason, at the very beginning, we've managed to foster that sense that we're a real family. Sounds cheesy, but genuinely like a group of people who really care about each other and who really want to make the best thing together. And we know that it's not one person. It's not superstar creative team. It's not the Wonder Woman director. It's all of us. And giving people the freedom to be able to say, we've engaged you because we think that you're the best at this. So tell us, what do you... We trust you. And the more that people feel supported and that we're there on the day and you're like, hey, let's just try this. And what happens if? And, you know, someone feels that they have the space and the safe environment to be able to go, I don't know, I was thinking we might just mic this guy, see what he says, or, you know, whatever it is. And then that's actually collected some magic that we weren't expecting, and that ended up in the edit. And then before you know it, we've got something that is, you know, really fantastic. So that, I think, in a nutshell, we felt about creating a positive environment, you know. And so that's what, you know, our tagline was, a positive production company. I think we might be changing it to positive production people, but that's still, you know, that's still under wraps. That's what we bring. And I think production is about facilitation. It's about making people be able to do the best at what they do well. And I feel like if you create that environment, then the best creative comes naturally.
Not only with that, but also, you know, you're trying to be very ethically minded and sustainable with the way you do production and everything surrounding your agency.
We want to make sure that we have a very diverse group of people, both in front of the camera and behind the camera, and make sure that we're creating those opportunities for people who haven't initially come into our business through the traditional ways. The sustainability as well, Beth's probably better to speak to that.
We kind of chat about it a lot, but also when we first met, we realised like we were on set and there's a huge amount of waste. I know it sounds like a small thing. Like the reality is each individual person, the waste that we create in our life, like it really it matters. If we can remove coffee cups from our sets, if we can remove water bottles from our set and have reusable ones, if we can reduce the amount of paper that we're using, if we can make sure that we are rehoming, recycling wardrobe and props. And the reality is we live in this pretty intense consumer society, and also we work in advertising. That in itself can be tricky. And I think that just making sure that as little as possible of that goes to landfill, but also can go to people who need it.
Do you guys have any like exciting clients or projects that you've worked on recently?
There's been a lot of things. I think one of the first jobs we did was Jill and Mince.
That was fun. We were like madly launching our website on Instagram, also like trying to engage 20 extras at a football club.
The people who own Jill and Mince, beautiful family company, have been together for forever. You know, the guy who we were working with, it was his, you know, he'd been on the last shoot they did 20, 30 years ago. They love their business so much that they didn't want to hire extras. he chipped in on a bus a bunch of factory workers from the Gilla factory to come and be in the background, which was great. But also, you know, they weren't necessarily comfortable on camera.
Yeah, but they actually did great.
There was another one we did for, there's a cryptocurrency, and we had a very famous AFL player who's wearing a wig, and their wig comes to life and makes a payment, and it's like, there was a whole crazy thing. In fact, we had an intern, his first day ever working in a production office, he came in to, you know, to intern with us, and poor thing got sat with like this wig on his head and all these puppeteers and like 6 agency like making points about, and I was just like, I'm really sorry, this is a very strange job that you come into. One of the ones that was really fun was coming back to light and easy. So we did, that's probably one of the things I think we've enjoyed the most is the end of last year, we worked with Hard Hats, this agency I've worked with a bit over the years, who are fantastic. We do a lot of really great comedy work. This was so perfect because Light and Easy as a brand and as a product, I think traditionally have done quite traditional advertising. You know, that sort of kind of, I think, probably geared towards mums, that sort of daytime television. Great, it's fine, it works really well for their audience, but I don't think it's particularly challenging in any way. Hard Hat had been working with them in various ways, I think on some of their online stuff, and had managed to sell in this comedy script. And it was such a huge diversion from what they usually do, and exactly that time when someone needs to feel safe and that like it's going to be okay. Everybody just collaborated really well. We had fantastic talent who were hilarious and ad-libbed all this nonsense on the shoot that, you know, we're all rolling about laughing. And it was really good fun, and it actually gave us the space that they had only bought, I think, 15s and 30-second spots, and by the time we'd shown them the edits, they went on to, you know, do a big media spend to buy 45s as well.
Nat, here is your photo from the 90s.
Wonderful.
We love it. And Beth, we have this one of you. We love the backwards cap.
Thank you very much. Fashion.
Very sassy.
Thank you so much for both of you for coming on.
No worries, it's been so lovely to talk to you.
It's lovely meeting you both.
Yeah. They were so nice. And as advertising students about to graduate, the next step we take in the field is very much in our own hands. But I'm concerned I won't have the autonomy over things until we become more established creatives. And when will that happen? But I do have an idea for how to get employed.
Wait, please share. How do we do it?
Well, it's easy, you know. Gather 11 people, all with their own unique talents and skills. Find your nearest ad agency. Make sure that the owner of the agency is dating an ex of someone within the group of people.
Wait, is that not the plot of Ocean's 11?
Oh, is it? Oh shit, my bad. Anyway, I saw the Casino Aces theme and got confused. What I meant to say is pitch night. That's how we might get employed in our first full-time roles. This year, an incredible team of 9 has put together an amazing night for students to get a chance to meet and introduce themselves to agency reps and other legends within the industry.
It's such an awesome chance for employment. Before that fateful day in October arrives, we have the Pitch Night team joining us now to give us the facts before we get into it though. So here's a little teaser of what they've been up to recently.
Why should I go to Pitch Night?
It's going to be an unforgettable networking night like no other, and you're going to find your hidden ace.
So please welcome to the couch, Amber and Val, co-coordinators of Pitch Night.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Hi everyone that's watching. We're Amber and Val, the 2023 Pitch Night coordinators. For those of you that may have not been paying attention and live under a rock, Pitch Night is almost here and we're excited to tell you everything about it.
So what is Pitch Night? That's the big question. It's a recruitment gala and an unforgettable evening on October 17th for this year's talented cohort of third years, our ad aces. Pitch Night Hidden Aces, it's not just an event though, it's a showcase of our cohort's innovation, creativity and brilliance. The night offers third year students a chance to have a one-on-one interview with industry professionals.
So if you might have seen our posters around and you might be wondering what on earth does our theme mean. So our theme, Hidden Aces, revolves around both skill and luck, two things that make up the basis of the advertising world. So you might have all the necessary skills, but there is always that element of luck, being in the right place, right time, and meeting the right people.
So what should you wear on the night? We all want you to shine like the stars that you are, so make sure you show off your style. Like a pub has its rules, we have ours, so no shirt, no shoes, no pitch night. We love seeing what you all wear to class, but we'd recommend dressing up for this event. Elevate your style and dress to impress. Make sure you show off your personality through what you're wearing. And don't worry, we will be releasing inspiration for what to wear, so keep an eye on our social media.
And for those second-year students looking to attend to Pitch Night, we have volunteer positions available. So please scan the QR code on the screen to fill out the volunteer application somewhere on the screen.
So at Aces, stack the deck in your favour so you can play your cards right on Pitch Night.
Wow, second and third years, hope you've been paying attention. We've got a huge night coming up next month, so make sure you're ready. I know I am. I've got my earrings set already. Please follow the Pitch Night on social channels and stay up to date.
And dress to impress. We're going to take another quick ad break, and when we're back, it's quick brief time.
I've always dreamt of doing something more exotic, and with 15% off my insurance, Amy Safe Driver Awards helped me get there.
I make special drink for you today, Rhonda.
Thank you.
You look so hot today, like a sunrise.
You're naughty. Thank you, Katut.
Remember, eyes on the road, Rhonda.
Amy's Safe Driver Awards offer up to 15% discount for drivers who don't claim. Where will the savings take you?
It's Australia's favourite way to get the day underway. Thicker, softer, Sorbent.
As I shampoo my hair, I really love new decor. I love the feeling, nothing can beat it. Oh, now, yes, I really love it. Oh, so does the family. Come on, new decor. See, yeah.
New Decore, the family shampoo.
Now,
Thank you.
it's time for quick briefs. And well, I'd normally pass it over to Luca, but well, he's running very late, so I guess we'll just have to take it from here.
Sorry I'm late.
Where have you been?
Where's
your suit?
Look, don't keep the audience waiting. Let's go. Let's do the quick brief. Come on, let's do it.
Oh, come on, man.
Did you not get the memo? Like, we're meant to be
I know,
dressing
dress to
up,
impress.
corporate today.
One time.
Where have you been?
Never hear the end of it. I swear to.
Always the same with him.
One time, I ended up in London one time and I still haven't heard the end of it. Every week, every week.
You good, Luca?
Yeah, why wouldn't it be, Jai? Where was I? Oh yeah, quick brief. So this week's client is The Conversation. What is The Conversation, you ask? Well, it's a global non-for-profit news organization that aims to challenge the mainstream media. They're ad-free and encourage other news sources to share their works as an effort to spread truth and facts. Your aim is to get young people from Gen Z, who generally rely on social media for news, to turn to The Conversation as a trusted news source. Adopt a warm, funny, and smart tone on platforms that Zoomers frequent: TikTok, YouTube, Discord, Telegram, Kick. Okay, maybe not those last two. But the point being, whatever you think is a social platform that young people go on to use. This brief was provided to us by the amazing folks at Open Arms, who are happy to provide the winner of this brief with a mentor session and present the idea to the conversation itself. Submissions due at midnight, the 10th of October. We can't wait to see what you guys got, and we'll accept all submissions with open arms. Had to do it. Had to do it once. Had to do it once. Back to you guys.
Thanks for that, Luca. Very funny. Send your submissions to us for a chance to win prizes and the ultimate bragging rights of being Scamp Champ at this year's Pitch Night.
Join us next week as we discuss virality with a star-studded lineup. We'll be joined by Jess Harris, lead producer at Jackie Winter Group, Rachel Webb, head of commercial at Data Source, and Teresa Nguyen, account manager and recent advertising grad. And of course, Felix Barnett, 2021 split-second winner. And...
Take a breath, Jaya. I'll finish this one off. And Samantha Andrew, content creator and star of the recent Moddy Body series we discussed with Hal Watson and company, plus our very close friends Jackson, Max, and Holly. All right, that's all for tonight. Good night. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to our crew.
Thank you.
Audience.
Thank you.
See you next week.